Hi. So we've come to the end of week 3, and I want to use this video to talk a little bit about the work that happened this week and talk a little bit about where we're going next. So first, I just want to say I thought the work this week was outstanding. The discussion board on the GA case was very strong. A lot of good ideas that came out of it. I thought you played off of each other's ideas really well. And I want to thank you for the work that you put into the Illuminate session. It was clear that people came in to this class prepared to talk about the finance case study. You had some very good ideas. I wish we could have spent some more time on it because I think there's a lot more ideas that we could have pulled out of it. But some of those we'll get to play around with as we move into some other kinds of cases. So for today, you have a Bowman and Deal article that I referenced in the last video. That you're going to be looking up in the library system. If you need any help thinking about how to do that, then I've posted earlier in the class a screencast that you can find in the course schedule. There's a link to it that helps you learn how to use the ERIC database system to find articles. So you're going to be reading that Bowman and Deal article, and that'll provide the third lens that we'll have learned in this class for thinking about moral problems. The first was the decision-making model. The next was using schema theory. And now Bowman and Deal will introduce yet a third way to think about these moral problems. And in the cases that are coming up next week, in the discussion board, I will prompt you to look at those cases, at least one of them specifically through the lens offered by Bowman and Deal. Now, the other big thing that we've got coming up is you're going to be doing part 2 of the moral barriers exercise. And so to accomplish that, you're going to be using your Google video chat one more time, and you're going to interview a classmate. Now, when you're conducting these interviews, this time you're being interviewed to help you think about your own moral barriers and to draw them out. So when you're actually writing up part 2, you're not going to be talking about other people like you did in the first part. You're going to be talking about yourself. So even though you're being interviewed and you're interviewing somebody else, it's your own moral failure and moral barriers that's going to be the topic of study for that part 2. So what we're asking you to do is to think about a moral failure, to think about a difficult decision that you had to make, that you would change if you had the opportunity to make it again. And in this case, we're talking about something where some part of you, even if it's a small part, knew the right path, but you chose to do something else. So we're specifically looking at that judgment-action gap, that place where we know what we should be doing, but we make a different choice. Talk about what it is, set it up, talk about how you resolve the dilemma, and what the pressures or different considerations were that influenced your choice. And we can think about social considerations, cultural considerations, efficiency, just trying to get it over quickly. And some of those came up today as we were talking about the case, or in the Illuminate sessions we talked about the case. Different pressures on us that might make us not act in the way that we've already talked about in classes, maybe being the most appropriate. And then you'll use that. You'll be interviewed to draw out one of those, and to help your classmate draw out one of them for them. And to do that, you'll follow the protocol that's written up in the assignment, and you'll interview the person, and you'll try to prod them a little bit in a friendly way to try to get them to talk about their case as much as possible, to pull out as many details as they can. And after they've done that, and you've done that for them, then you'll have to go back, and I want you to think of a couple more. So you'll have at least 3 of your own examples that you'll be drawing from. And then you'll start to analyze what were all those different obstacles that you were up against, and do you think you're susceptible to a similar kind of moral failure now? If the same situation came up, or a similar one with those same kinds of pressures and considerations and obstacles, have you changed in some way in the way that you think about them? that would allow you to actually follow through? Or do you think that you might make a similar kind of decision or act in a similar kind of way? And then I want you to talk about what strategies you can employ to be more aware of the barriers that you face and how you might be able to effectively overcome them in the future. So the assignment talks about this in more detail. I'm happy to answer questions about it. You'll find directions for knowing who your partner is on the discussion board. I'll open up a page like I did last time, and I'll assign you partners. And there'll be a link to that page on the website when I get it pulled together, and that'll be available on Friday, the last day of week 3. And then as you move into next week, there is no Illuminate session for week 4. Okay, because you're going to be doing these Google video chats, and there are 2 cases and 2 sets of discussion board activities for next week. And a couple of readings. So that will all be driving towards the end here, and then this part 2, moral barriers part 2 assignment is going to be due in the last week, and I'll have the exact date available for you on the website as well. So great job, everybody. More than halfway there, just 2 weeks to go. I'm looking forward to the same kind of work together over the last 2 weeks, and excited about where this class is going. As always, if you have any questions for me, feel free to shoot them on the discussion board or by email, and I'm looking forward to seeing you online.